game record after that. You play 1-0 if you're 1-0, and so on and so forth. And we're getting started here.
We have a desert start here.
Yeah, desert start is always good because it's right in the middle of the map and it's easy access to a lot of checks. Looks like blue candle price is relatively easy to come by. It looks like Toastymuffins is over in Lost Hills already, trying to make those far-reaching checks over there.
bentglasstube has found our any roads.
Indeed. Will he take them right now? He will. So, first one goes over to Death Mountain. Oh, and he takes a hit. So, that's luckily that's not too far from start there. And we've got a free candle in the far reaches of the Lost Hills.
And a sword in Vanilla 1.
Interesting. So both relatively easy to find right from start. So that's another exciting thing about Desert Start is its great potential for deviating paths, which always makes for, in my opinion, a more exciting race. Right now, we're just trying to get back to where we were. We both we had bentglasstube with a quick death there, and we had Toastymuffins with an up A. Trying to check those Armo spots right now. And if you're not familiar, the Armo spots, they are 5 spots in the overworld where randomly one will have a free key item. So it's very, very rewarding usually to try and prioritize those because you don't need anything to get them.
Oh, we found a big secret. That's a nice one.
Indeed, 125 is on the higher end of the spectrum for what the big secret can randomize to. It can be anywhere from, I believe, somewhere in the 50s to all the way up to 150. So 125 is definitely good value for that.
Oh, and bentglasstube takes a death before we can find out if we have the Armus item or another staircase.
That's always real rough to take a death. It makes you want to scream in many cases to take a death on the Armos screen without being able to see what it is. You can usually prioritize off to the other items and hope that that's going to be it. Got a nice bomb drop there. We'll be able to clear out the Lost Hills. Meanwhile, Toastymuffins is in the grave.
Oh, that's a nice hint shop. Now, you want to explain how hints work in this flag set?
Sure. So the way the hints have typically worked is when you find a hint shop, you can buy them. There's one in each dungeon, and they'll just give you a hint to where a secret is. A hidden item, a location of a dungeon. However, in this flag set, there is something new that's been added to the randomizer, and that is the book being used to understand the NPCs. So without being able to understand them, you can't make use of the hints. That makes the book, which was previously a relatively useless item for this, it would make it a lot more valuable.
And Toastymuffins found our first dungeon. Looks like level 4 or Asylum 4 as the case may be here.
Asylum, that's the first that's the first time I've heard that one. Toastymuffins choosing to give up on 4 for now and look for greener pastures as bentglasstube finds a heart container in the Lost Hills. Toastymuffins finds another set of those Any Roads. I think we're just looking for one more Any Roads location at this point.
That's not a bad set of Any Roads. You got access kind of all over the place.
Yeah, this is a relatively accessible overworld so far. It's always nice, instead of starting far in West Death Mountain and then not being able to get around where you need to. Toasty checking that right side forest there as bentglasstube checks those really difficult to get to Waterfall and Vanilla 5 spots. Toasty looks like trying to get a bomb drop, and the reason you'll see Toasty killing certain enemies is because certain enemies drop bombs if you're not familiar with the game.
And that looks like we found the Armos item, and it's the yellow boomerang.
Not necessarily the most exciting Armos item, but when you're in Toasty's shoes and you don't have any offense at all, you'll certainly take it.
Agreed. Now, we did have a question in chat. What's randomized in this flag set? So I'll give a quick rundown. We're doing first quest overworlds, first quest dungeons, helpful hints. Ganon is required. Only 5 Triforces are required to enter 9. Important items can be in 9, so that means your ladder can be in 9, and you need it to get the silvers in 2. Along with the hint system, we've also found level 5 on bentglasstube's side. Along with the hints being required, the book required to get the hints, we also have enemies plus or minus 2 and bosses plus or minus 2 HP.
In the meantime, bentglasstube finds level 5 and decides to leave. It looks like possibly just to farm bombs, as Toastymuffins takes an unfortunate overworld death there. The spot he was at, he only needed one more check of the open cave over there in order to be done with that section, on his search for the sword anyway. And bentglasstube is full on rupees, 255, the max you can carry in this game, so he very well may be looking to buy something here, whether it be keys or whether it be a blue ring if he finds it. At this point, this early in the seed, you kind of just want to dump that money on something a lot of the time. It looks like that's what he's going to do and buy the arrows.
Yeah, keys isn't a bad purchase in this. You find yourself going into 9 with just only 5 Triforces, very likely to be key starved. So yeah, if I found a key shop here, I would definitely consider picking one up.
Absolutely, and he ends up buying the meat as well. It looks like with that big secret being what it is, and one of them still floating around out there for him somewhere, he's content to go ahead and spend some money on things he might need later while he's got the opportunity to. We see Toasty up here in the Lost Hills really contending with this blue Gorilla screen there. He's still looking for some offense, and he just needs to go west of start. Unfortunately, it's right there next to the start screen. If you go left, he just needs to figure that out. I'm sure that's where he'll go after digging the rest of Lost Hills.
I'm not sure how familiar with Toasty is with the randomizer, but the big piece with finding the sword is the sword will only be, the wood sword will only be in an open cave, as we've found level 6 now on bentglasstube's side. So what that means is any cave that you don't have to bomb or burn that is on the overworld can have the sword in it.
Correct. Basically, anything that you can just walk into without having to open it up in any way. You don't need an item to get there. And that's because the sword is kind of the main item in this game, and you can do more with the sword than really any other item in the game. And this is a very nasty enemy set here in the 6 that both of our runners have found here. Looks like bentglasstube may opt out here as he sees the coast item, which is the wand. That is very appealing early if you're able to get it, as it gives you a lot more offense.
Now, if you'd watched our tournament in the fall of last year, you know we had the shapes tournament. And here, all the dungeons are going to be the vanilla shapes that they were in the game. So you're not going to see a lot of map pickups as bentglasstube plays the money-making game and walks away a winner.
Absolutely, that's always a good feeling. As he will pick up Lord Banana, and looks like he may be deciding to up A. No, he decides not to. As Toastymuffins finds level 5. Looks as though Toasty was debating going in there for a moment or two, but then decided just to look for greener pastures. As bentglasstube obeys, and we are at about 12 minutes, and we're still looking for our first accessible dungeon item or Triforce. So not a whole lot of early opportunity in this seed.
And Toasty's following suit with bentglass with these big secrets, going ahead and buying the arrows too. So once we find the bow, Goma's will not be a problem.
Right, both of our runners have bought the arrows, and that comes in extremely handy. Certain enemies have certain weaknesses, which the Pole's voice, which look like little bunny heads. If you're not familiar with the game, those are always one-shot by arrows, no matter whether it's the silver arrows that are required to kill Ganon and do magic sword damage, or if they are just the regular arrows. Toastymuffin finds his first free heart container. Bentglasstube will check what's on top of the waterfall.
And just a potion shop.
Nice screen scrolls there by bentglasstube, making it look easy. Now, both at this point are kind of checking things that the other has checked, so they're kind of doing what we know to be old news, but it's new to them at this point. Toastymuffins has to be real careful with these Tektites, and he gets some hearts. That's good. Tektites are one of the more frustrating enemies when you're on a half heart, because they are some of the most difficult to avoid if there's a screen full of them, and they're just the most unpredictable enemy in the game in many ways. So far we have Dungeon 4 in the grave next to the Armo spot, and we have Dungeon 5 on the coast and we have 6 on the coast near the ladder item. Those are the 3 dungeons we found. So this seed has not been generous with the dungeons so far. It's been generous with the money, but that's about it. As Toastymuffins still looking for that sword. It's just so close to start.
Oh, we're seeing the power of the boomerang with these low health moblins here. He's taking them out with the boomerang where normally you'd need a sword.
Yes, that's the great thing about randomizer moblins like that would normally just be stunned by the boomerang, are able to be killed, and more importantly, the blue Octoroks, which have the ability to drop bombs, are 0 HP as well. That gives Toasty, even without a sword, a way to kill Octoroks and acquire bombs. That means while he's making these checks, he doesn't have to skip spots and then waste time doubling back to spots he's already been to. These blue land molas in this level 4, they deal 2 hearts of damage, and they're also some of the most difficult enemies to avoid in the game.
Yeah, bentglasstube's doing a great job of block clipping and then just waiting for that Lamola to come to you. They like to come attack you, so this is really a good play.
Absolutely. The safe strats in here with as few hearts and wood sword as Bentglass has. That's just smart play.
Those are some nice potion prices over there on Toasty's side. 25 and 56 for the red.
Those are indeed good potion prices. At that point, with money like you have in this seed, I'm tempted to just save the time and buy the red anyway, as it's only going to be a 6 rupee difference.
Well, there's our Goma.
There is Goma indeed, and the reason you don't want to see Goma is that Goma can only be killed in one way, and that's to shoot Goma in the face with an arrow. And until you have bow and you have arrows, you cannot kill Goma, which means if Goma is guarding something, then you have to find the bow before you can even see what Goma is guarding.
And we have our first Triforce at 17 minutes 36 seconds on bentglasstube. We got the just laying there on 4.
It's always a good feeling when you can find an early free Triforce like that, especially when you have 5 Triforces required to get into 9 instead of the typical 8, which is what we do in this tournament. It makes it really priority to grab those Triforces when you can find them easily accessible like that.
And Toasty's found the wood sword, so we have swords. Bentglasstube's going back into 4, and he finds a bomber keys. He's gonna want to consider up A-ing out of this, and no, he's gonna give up a max bomb.
Way to get into the south of 4, and him not knowing if there is an item or what the item is in here. That's a tough decision there. But I do agree with the decision to give up the bombs instead of the key, or the bomb instead of the keys.
Definitely. You do still have the 2 bomb upgrades available that can get you back at least on the plus side.
That is true.
And with this much money, that's more than likely.
Absolutely. And it's 2 push block rooms, not a staircase, so we might have a reverse C room here that could be a drop room or a staircase room as well.
And we found Dungeon 8 on Toasty's side.
Now, if you're not familiar with the randomizer or the game, the thing that's exciting about 8 is that 8 can drop 2 key items. It will have 2 staircase items, whereas most dungeons just have 1. There's only 3 dungeons that have 2, and it's Dungeon 1, Dungeon 8, and Dungeon 9. And another exciting thing about this flag set that's new relatively to the randomizer is the fact that important items can be in 9 now, which means normally it was the case that you could not have bow or ladder or things that you needed to generally progress through the game in 9. Well, now you can, and they can block things. So you may have to go into 9, find an item, go back out of 9, and find something else that's blocking, and get an item from there to be able to finish the game.
And as chat's pointing out, it does look like that our item in 4 was blocked by that toll road. And this looks like it could be it.
And what a find. It's the silver arrows, so that dip into 4, giving up that bomb, proves to be worth it. The silver arrows being one of the 3 required items that will always be needed to finish the game, along with bow and some sort of sword. As bentglasstube loses 2 rupees there on the money-making game, not the worst thing that could have happened by any means, and Toastymuffins is trying. He finds mags, actually, which magical sword is anywhere from 10 to 14 hearts to be able to have a chance to pick it up. It's random what it will be, each seed, and it does 4 HP of damage, whereas the wood sword that they're carrying right now only does 1.
And bentglasstube has found 2. This is a good find for him right now.
Absolutely. 2 is a relatively small dungeon, easy to dig the items out of in most cases, especially if the enemy set is nice and it doesn't take too long to get through them. Another interesting thing or unique thing about 2 is it's the only dungeon in the game where there will be only 1 floor drop in the dungeon. The item won't be found under a staircase, it will be dropped from enemies or laying on the floor somewhere in the dungeon.
We have some wizrobes in here, but they seemed low health. Oh, wow.
Yeah, not necessarily what you immediately want to see, but it is nice, especially when those red wizrobes roll low like that. Easy bomb drops, or easy chances for bomb drops in most cases.
And another important thing about dungeons 1, 2, and 3 is that any room, such as this one, where there is a wall that leads to another room, there will be a bomb wall there, unless there's an old man or a ladder or a staircase on the side of the room, so you will be able to bomb through and avoid possible key locks in here.
bentglasstube has to be careful here. He's on half a heart, but he finds a very timely clock there. I know he's going to be happy with that one.
Oh, but we have wall masters in here, so let's see if we open the shutter or not.
Employing some good strats there, doing a sword swing and swinging it from left to right in order to hit both Pole's voice with 1 sword swing.
Oh, that's a nasty room of wizrobes.
That is indeed. That'll be rough to say the least to try and clear at this point without chewing through a lot of your bomb inventory, which looks like bentglasstube may be gearing up for that.
That compass is a nice find, especially in here where you're going to clear a lot of rooms. You know which room you don't have to clear right now, along with you can start isolating where your item is.
Right. Especially in a dungeon like 2, where you've got to dig not just 1 floor drop, like usual with the Triforce, but you got to dig a 2nd floor drop with the item. bentglasstube gets some timely bomb drops there, refills all of his bombs. going into this Wizrobe room, if he ends up having to do that, he'll need every bomb he can get with how many of them there were and how low the hearts are at this point.
So that tells us that the old man's below that room there.
And Toasty making his way through the Lost Hills over here, finding some more money, which he is in great need of at the moment, as he just found a 30 secret and brings him right back up to 45 rupees. One of the most frustrating things in the world is when you have really high HP enemies in a room with bubbles like that. It just feels like it takes forever in many cases to be able to kill them all, with those bubbles taking away your ability to swing your sword for, I believe it's 2 seconds at a time, and being really difficult to avoid. And Toastymuffins finds the largest dungeon that he will be finding tonight outside of 9. It is 7. 7 is the one you generally want to see the least, as it's the biggest one and it only has one item. So it's the biggest risk to try and dig through, but it can really pay off if you find something really good out of there and you decided to dig it early.
Right, a lot of runners don't like to dig 7, so if you get in here and snag a quick bow or ladder or a red ring even, give you a real big advantage going into the next dungeons.
Absolutely. 7's one of those where you're kind of holding your breath while you're going through it if you're doing it relatively early into the seed, because you know it can make or break you in many cases. We have bentglasstube trying to fight this Patra over here. Patra is one of the more frustrating enemies to fight, one of the more difficult enemies to fight, as he will do 2 hearts of damage anytime that one of those heads touch you, and they move so fast and they change directions. They can be deceivingly difficult to avoid, as you see right there.
Well, that blue wizard room that we saw early on in 2 is looking very much like it might have the item right now.
That's
got
true.
to be weighing on Bentglass's mind. He might just pick the Triforce up and get out of here.
And I may be wrong, but I don't know that that Patra room can actually be an item room. Bentglasstube decides to pick up the Triforce, fill up his hearts. We'll see if he might use that to go in and try and fight that blue Wizrobe room. As Toastymuffins is still making his way through this Dungeon 7, he picks up a key in the far northeast end, and he will up A back to the beginning. Oh, and Toastymuffins finds a ladder block Triforce in 7, potentially ladder block Triforce in 7 anyway. That room is relatively accessible. You can bomb into that room from several different directions where you can attempt it, and if he can just get one bomb in any other direction, he'll be able to pick up that Triforce without a ladder, which he will be able to do.
It looked like he's thinking about digging a little bit more in 7.
At this point, it's not the worst idea in the world to just check a few rooms on the outskirts of the Triforce. It's always a struggle to decide whether you want to commit to actually digging more beyond that, so we'll see what he decides.
And right now we're only missing what looks to be 3 dungeons. Looks like we're missing 1, 3, and 9. So We may not see 1 and 3 the rest of the race.
That's true, with only 5 Triforces needing to enter, being required to enter 9, as bentglasstube, Speak of the Devil finds level 9 in West Death Mountain. You don't always see every dungeon, every race.
And Toasty picked up his Triforce and decided to check out a 7. I can't blame him.
A commitment, and at this point, especially with not having any real offensive or defensive upgrades, it kind of makes sense in many cases to see what you can find elsewhere and come back when you have a little bit more firepower. And now bentglasstube has found 7 as well. Let's see if he decides to test his luck in this monster. And Toastymuffins up in Death Mountain, tingling with those Lionel's doing a good job dispatching him so he can find this bomb spot, just to get his money stolen. Bentglass with some good combat on these Len Molas. They can be deceivingly difficult to avoid, and they do 2 hearts of damage every hit you take from them. Bentglasstube again makes it look easy.
And Toasty's gone back into 4. Doesn't know it yet, but needs to dig the silvers out of here.
Right, let's see if he can make that difficult decision to leave one of his bomb capacity behind. Bentglass picks up his key out of 7 in the northeast corner, and he will not obey. He'll keep going. He might take that staircase. It looks like no, he's going back toward where he came. No, he finds the power bracelet. I guess Toastymuffins, when he was in there, he neglected to go south on that spot, and that may end up costing him, as there are 4 power bracelet spots still to be checked, and as you said, dungeons still to be found.
I mean, unless bow or ladder is in 1 or 3, then it's probably not the worst item to not have right now.
That's true. Especially being in Death Mountain and having that out of the way check over there with the power bracelet. It's nice to find before you leave, because you really don't want to have to come back again if you don't have to in many cases. And I believe that's our last take any, so we now, I believe, know where all the Overworld free heart container candle potion spots are.
Oh, here we go. Is Toasty going to make the right decision?
Well, we'll get to see in just a moment.
We're going to take a little bit more of an exploration around 4. Maybe we'll come back here.
Which is not a bad idea. Make sure you make all the checks that you can before you commit to leaving a bomb capacity behind. That's not a bad play at all, in my opinion. Bentglass checking that often forgotten spot just east of the grave spots over here. I'm trying to get the scroll.
As Toasty's picking up his second Triforce. Will he go back into 4? Yes.
Good decision. Now he's got to make the the even more difficult decision to give up one of his bomb capacity here. Let's see if he can make that decision to pull the trigger. Great fight against the land mole is there. Tangling with this manhandler and gets him down pretty easily. Great fight. He is really, really impressing for the first time you ever raced. That's, I mean, to be doing this well is unbelievable.
We've seen that a lot this tournament. We've seen a lot of new runners come in and challenge veterans, along with some really good races.
Absolutely, and that's always great to see when there's new faces in the community. And this is a really great community, really helpful people all over the place who are more than willing to help you get started if you're not really sure what to do, like I was 4 months ago. So, you know, if you're kind of on the fence about trying it out, then I'd say definitely give it a shot and you won't regret it. bentglasstube makes that play down to toward the start screen in the forest, and he is rewarded with a letter which will be able to, or make him able to buy potions if he finds a potion shop. With as many hearts as he has, and no ring, which means no mode of defense yet, or no defensive upgrade, potion is a very good thing to have. When we find the white sword item, it's the book. So the book is a really good item to have relatively early into the seed, which we have 2 Triforce pickups on both sides. It can make you understand the NPCs, as I was saying earlier, and whenever you find hint shops, you are able to buy the hints on where those secret items are, so that you can not have to dig dungeons if you know they're not required. It can give you a big knowledge advantage in the game.
And right now, the big one is, where is the bow hiding?
That is the million-dollar question, as that is the only item that we know for a fact is going to be required that neither of these runners have found yet.
And we have a power bracelet required 1. So let's see what's in here and if that power bracelet really is required.
That could be huge. 1 is the smallest dungeon, and it also has 2 items. So 1 is a play you want to make as soon as humanly possible in most cases.
Though bentglasstube's going to regret making that play straight into the whiz robes. He'll have to start over again.
The good thing is it was in the first room past the start screen, so it doesn't take him long at all to get back there. If you're going to take a death, that's a good place to do that.
And we've got Toasty digging 2. We never did find out what the item was in here. We think it's in that blue Armos room towards the bottom, but we have bentglass decided to get out before finding it.
Oh, and speak of the devil. We have an 8 blue wizard room in 1, which also could be the drop for the item that we need out of here.
And BGT says no thank you to that and keeps on pressing forward.
At least for now. We'll see if now that he has a few more hearts, a few more resources to his name, he might go back if he can't find the item otherwise. But I don't blame him wanting to check the rest of the dungeon first before he tries to tackle that room.
Question in chat, are all Triforces required? No, we just need 5 to enter 9. You do need the silvers, you do need the bow, because bacon is required.
Bentglass being real patient with this room, which is always a smart idea when you got 2 enemies who can deal 2 and 4 hearts of damage respectively.
And what you saw Bentglass do there is when you have a mixed enemy set like that, you kill a couple of enemies, leave the room, and there's a priority list on what enemy spawns. So he despawned the bunny and got himself a much nicer Wizrobe.
Toastymuffins finds that same blue Wizrobe room that we were referencing earlier, and he upays immediately. Unfortunately, we are relatively sure that that's probably the item room.
Normally in these tournaments, in races, we do an item recap about this time, but we don't know where any items are yet.
Right, the key items for the most part have not been found yet. The seed has not been generous in that regard. The only one that we are really sure of that is of any consequence is the silver arrows, and that was in 4. It was behind that money or life room, which is actually a bomb or key room.
And then the power bracelet being in 7, which gives us access to 1, along with our ladder item being the wand, the armos item being the yellow boomerang, and finally the white sword item being our book.
Toasty finds that Patra, decides he's not going to tangle with that right now on 2 hearts when 1 bonk from that Patra will dispatch of him. And he does pick up the Triforce out of 2. Let's see if he goes back in and tries to dig out that item.
So we've sort of had a lead change here, sort of. Toasty has more Triforces right now, but bentglasstube has more items and kind of knowledge of the layout of the world, per se.
Right. With Bentglass not having that Triforce out of 7, that may come into play later. You never know with the fact that both of these runners just need to find that bow before they can feasibly start thinking about going into 9. Or they could reverse that and race to get the 5 Triforces to go into a possible 9 that has a bow. That's the great thing about these flags. It opens up a lot of possibilities, and you got to strategize when to make your play into 9.
Also, Toasty does have to go back into 4 at some point and get those silvers out.
That's true. I forgot he never went and got those silvers.
I'm sorry, we were kind of distracted. I do believe Bentglass got the recorder out of 1. So
That is true.
That will help navigate the overworld a little bit easier as we pick up a couple of Triforces.
We have a pretty nasty room here on 1.5 hearts. Oh, and what a timely clock. That's going to help out big time clearing this Gibdo room with these turrets. And Bentglass finds the Triforce out of 1, so will he go back in to find that other item?
It's 1. It's small enough. Granted, there's that blue Wizrobe room that I don't think many runners really enjoy.
Yeah, not the most fun in the world trying to clear out a blue Wizrobe room on Woodsword, but he does have a wealth of hearts at this point. It's very possible that he could get through that, especially with 7 bombs.
We just still have the 4 rooms down here to check too, so a good idea. Bomb south. Go look down there first.
He finds a useful compass there as Toastymuffins continues to dig too. Unfortunately, he may be disappointed in what he finds in here.
Ooh, we have a ladder block in one.
That is
Interesting.
interesting. Absolutely. So, that item will possibly remain a mystery for now. Bent Glass, it looks like, has a few more rooms to check. One of them being the Wizard room. We'll see if he decides to take that on.
I do believe that he's going to nope out of there. He does not want any part of those blue wizards, and I can't necessarily blame him. It's one room versus the ladder for 3. I'd go maybe take a look to find that ladder somewhere else.
True, and the fact too that you don't have any offensive upgrades at this point, it makes it real tough to make that call.
And Toasty's still looking for the item in 2. I really, when he finds out that it's probably that blue wizard room, I think we're going to get a nope out of there too.
Yeah, that I'd say you may be right based on how these runners have been playing the seed. It's been very, very cautious at this point, which in many cases in these really difficult combat seeds, slow and steady can win you the race as opposed to trying to bang your head against something that is really difficult and may cost you several deaths. As Toastymuffins take us on a equally as difficult room in many senses, with the limited mobility of not having the ladder here, trying to deal with the bunnies which move in one way, the wizrobes which spawn and can trap you just like that, and those wizrobes when their shot hits you, it deals 4 hearts of damage. So it's just a really, really nasty room to try and deal with, especially without a ladder.
And Bent Glass deciding to be a little bit cheap there and save the 6 rupees and buy himself 2 blue potions to get a red. So with the amount of wizards we've seen and where we think items are, a couple potions, probably not a bad idea to have.
Definitely not, especially with the fact that they know, or especially Bent Glass has that information, that there is a probable item locked behind blue wizards both in 2 and in 1.
Oh, now this is interesting.
Wow.
The Dungeon 3 is at Recorder Lake, and the Recorder is Power Bracelet blocked in 1.
That is quite the trail of breadcrumbs to try and follow if something important ends up being in here. If this is the bow, or even the ladder, this could be a huge, huge play for Bent Glass.
You definitely see Bent Glass taking advantage of the items he's found and immediately going to use them in the overworld to try to further that advantage here. So great play on his part, going straight to the Recorder Lake.
Absolutely. At this point, there's not a whole lot left, and we have the item staircase here. What will it be? We'll find out after he gets out of this light.
And that was our last dungeon, so we know where they all are. We just don't know what's in them. Except for the raft is in 3.
Which, as we know, is not required. I don't know if Bent Glass has found all the dungeons. I believe he probably has at this point.
I believe he has. I know he was in 8 earlier.
So one of those combat spots looking more and more likely, like it's going to hide something very important here.
And Toasty's engaged with a Patra in 2, so he's still trying to find that item in 2. I'm not going to be happy when he gets rid of this Patra, but he's got to be very careful on 2.5 hearts. Well, 1.5 now.
That is true. These Patras, even with this white ring that Toastymuffins bought, the Patras can kill you quick, and they're just so high HP, and each of those heads, you have to kill them individually, so they just take a long time. at high risk, as you just see.
And we haven't touched on it much, but we may not even need to go get another item. That bow could be hiding in 9 still, so
That's very true.
this could be all sorts of fun.
And the ladder could also be there. And as we saw, there was a ladder block in 1. So you could, not trying to curse it or anything, but you could have the ladder in 9 be forced to leave to find the bow in 1.
That would just be mean.
It would be, but it has happened quite a bit in these seeds. Things exactly like that situation.
So question in chat, is the wand and book the boomstick? Not in this tournament. In this tournament, the book is the ability to understand the old men hints, which we have not seen anyone purchase any hints. Bentglass is the only one with the book, but it would be a good idea if he were to run into a hint shop to pick a few up and maybe learn where the bow is, as he finds the Triforce in 3.
And he decides to leave it behind, which is interesting. I think maybe he forgot for a second he had already found the item out of 3. He goes back and decides to pick it up.
That's 4 Triforces for Bentglass. Toasty's still dealing with that Patron 2 with 3 Triforces. Knowing what we know about the dungeons, where do you think Bentglass goes next, Antlers?
I would say with 4 Triforces to his name, he may go back to 5, try and pick up a Triforce out of there, and then get into 8. Either that or try and... Well, it looks like he's going back to... Well, no, he's leaving 1 and going somewhere else. But I may, if I were him, I may try and get into 9 here and try and start digging that dungeon out, as we know the items are blocked, either behind really difficult combat or possibly a ladder block.
And it looks like, based on my map markings, that he is going back to 5, so great call there.
Right, it's the next easiest dungeon, or the next smallest dungeon anyway, that he hasn't found Triforce out of.
Toasty killed the Patra and didn't get a drop and realized it's that blue Wizro broom and has noped out of 2. He wants no part of getting that item.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Old news game, we know that level 3 has the raft.
A useful raft at that. It's so useful that we know it's not required.
Oh, we have another potential ladder block here in 5.
That is interesting as well. Lots of potential ladder blocks here, and lots of combat block, but it's very possible that he could get into that room from the other side here, so we can't write it off yet.
Right, he's going to be able to bomb up here, so he's going to try to bomb down, and no. And he can't bomb up in this room because he's still got a little bit of a ladder problem. So this, we could.
This is interesting. It's looking more and more like you're going to need to just bite the bullet and take on one of those really difficult blue Wizro brooms to get the item you need. Oh no, and Toasty has actually soft locked himself by clipping. He has to up A, unfortunately.
I still think at this point the play here is definitely either go into 8 since it's got 2 items, or go get a Triforce and go straight to 9. With those 2 items there, you can map 9 out. Find out, 1, if the bow is there and you can just finish, or if you're going to need, you might get a hint that gives you a idea of what to do.
Absolutely. That's a very, very viable play that I think a lot of people would make in this situation.
But BGT is going to go back into 6, it seems, as Toasty dives into 8.
We'll see which one ends up paying off. I don't believe we've seen either of the items out of 8.
No, we haven't seen anything out of 6 or 8, so...
We saw them early, and both runners decide to look for something elsewhere before taking on these.
Blue Dark Nuts. Yeah, with Blue Dark Nuts, I can't necessarily blame them.
Especially because they, one of them didn't even have a sword when they found it, and the other had about 3 or 4 hearts. And we have a shoot room blocking Toastymuffins' progress here, and he finds a timely clock to deal with those Dark Nuts and Gibdos. That is... We've seen some really clutch clock drops here. This room's so difficult because you can't touch the borders because of those traps. In the middle, you've got the turret shooting at you, and just walking around everywhere else, you got 2 hearts or enemies that deal 2 hearts of damage.
It's a pretty decently easy Triforce in 8s. If Toasty's probably going to look around a bit more, he might come back and pick that up and dive a little deeper. As Bent Glass gets another timely clock. That's just really good timing there on that clock.
Well, the seed hasn't been generous with a whole lot, but the clocks have been very, very nice to the runners tonight. Bent Glass trying to deal with this room while Gleeok is shooting at him. Never the most fun thing to do.
As we run into another Gleeok on Toasty's side. This one looks to be a 3-headed, so he's going to grab that key, and he's running out of options as what to do. He might up A here.
Yeah, but Bent Glass took an up A as well, as he found that he was locked into the Zelda room from the vanilla version of the game, which has no exits outside of the one that you enter it from the south. Now we have a compass, but it is completely ladder blocked in 8. So hopefully what we need is not down there. Outside of the off chance that you have a transfer staircase that will take him down there. I don't know that we've seen those in 8 yet. We're still waiting to see an item out of either of these bigger dungeons that these runners are in right now.
Oh no, Toasty bombs up and finds a Chevy room full of Dark Nuts. Oh, we are definitely in ladder trouble now.
Now with that, there's one possibility that he could get into that room through the northwest side and kind of follow that path, but that's an off chance, unfortunately, as he just picks up the Triforce.
Not a bad decision there. Pick up the Triforce, refill your health. Odds are at this point, you've seen a bunch of ladder block rooms. You're losing chances that the ladder's probably an 8 at this point.
Right, two's got to be looking more and more like the play to these runners, and it's certainly looking more and more like the play every time we see something get eliminated from possibility.
And Big Glass is going to come in here and deal with this 3-headed Gleeok. He's got enough hearts. This should be pretty simple to deal with. Looks like Toasty's going back into 5.
And that was some nice Gleeok combat from Bent Glass there. Dispatched it rather easily. Especially with Wood Sword.
More Dark Nuts and shooter rooms. Lovely.
And we're seeing some really good combat from Bent Glass this seed. He's having no trouble avoiding those turrets and getting these kills on these Dark Nuts.
And we're seeing a lot of good combat on Toasty's side too, for someone who is relatively new to the Zelda 1 randomizer scene. So holding his own very well in this matchup.
Absolutely. Oh, and Bent Glass. Unfortunately, as he walked south, there was a Gleeok waiting right there for him, and he did not see it in time. He could not stop himself from taking that hit. And Toasty finds that same ladder block that we saw on Bentglass's side earlier. It's got to be frustrating at this point.
Yeah, with how these seeds have been rolling for the tournament so far, an hour in, you've got to be feeling really nervous about not having the ladder, not having the bow, and not having that 5th Triforce. You got to start thinking, where's my opponent? That's got to start weighing on your mind.
Absolutely, and another nice clock on Bentglass's side. Although, based on the last time, didn't necessarily need it. That's always nice to find for convenience sake. A nice heart drop there in 6. He'll take that. And now, if he so chooses, he has 10 hearts, so Bentglass can go and try and pick up the magical sword, which would quadruple his damage output as we speak.
Oh, we found a staircase in 6. Might this be the item? Along with some very nice Gibdos carrying bombs. I hope it's the transport.
Unfortunately, and this is a very, very linear dungeon, so you can't really route away from most things in this dungeon. You're going through it whether you like it or not.
Here is the item in 6, and it's the any key. That will help. We've got a lot of keys, but no one will ever complain about that.
Yeah, it's nice to find whenever you find it, for sure, because it completely takes that element of the game away. It's one less thing that you have to worry about. At this point, I would have preferred to see a few other alternative items, but certainly better than a lot of the items he could have found as well.
Oh, I mean, I know everyone would be excited to see the bow right now, or at least a ladder.
Right, I would take either of those in a heartbeat if I were one of these runners right now.
Bentglass is looking for the Triforce here in 6. I don't know, with the knowledge of the any key, I might go to another dungeon that we know where the Triforce is and just kind of grab it and get out, such as 5 or even 7.
Well, I don't think he ever saw the Triforce in 7. And as far as 5 goes, I believe we were ladder blocked in 5 from progressing.
That's right. And it looks like Toasty's decided to join Bentglass here in 6. We'll see if he makes it down there to his any key.
But as we were discussing that, Bentglass did find that compass, so he is able to find the Triforce right up by start, actually. And he will be picking that up, and I assume he'll go to 9.
Decided he had enough of those Gibdos, just going to walk around and come in here and fight these Gibdos for the Triforce.
The game says, well, you don't like 3? I'll give you 5. How's that sound?
And so our wonderful tracker here, Furious Case, kind of put out an item list in here. I'll kind of run down what we know. We know that the recorder's in 1. We haven't seen the second item in 1, along with we don't know what the item in 2 is. Raft is in 3. The silver arrows are in 4. We have not seen the item in 5, as bentglasstube picks up his 5th Triforce required to get into 9. So now the question is, do you dive 9 or do you go look for something else? Any key was in 6. Power bracelet was in 7. That was required to get into 1 to get the recorder to get to 3. Our ladder item was, or our coast item was the wand. Our almost item was the yellow boomerang, and the white sword item was the book.
And it looks like Bentglass is not going to make a play on Magical Sword. He is going right to level 9.
And I can't blame him. Hour and 4 minutes in, probably feeling a little bit behind getting that Triforce. Get in here. There's a good hint. Very important to have the book right there because now we know the beast is in the southwest.
Absolutely. That tells you which which quadrant of the dungeon, southwest, northwest, northeast, or southeast, the main boss of the game, Ganon, is going to be. So you can know where to route to, where to try and be. You can also find a hint for where Zelda is in this dungeon, and you can also find a hint for where the silver arrows are that you need to kill Ganon. Now that would be a useless hint because both runners know where the silver arrows are already, or at least Bentglass does. So he's going to be looking for the bow and the boss and the princess at this point.
And there's a fourth hint. You'll get you get 3 of the 4 potentially. Now that does take away a hint. The bombs or keys room. So we're down to 1 hint left. So you'll get the hint on who guards the compass as well, potentially.
Absolutely, and I did forget to mention that one.
But with that take any or give any, that'll take that hint away.
And this is a really nasty room to try and fight these red Wizrobe in. And he finds a clock, but he takes it, and now they're not able to be killed except for that one on the very left side.
He's going to bomb them here, and that'll take care of him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to see bentglasstube dive into every staircase he sees, push every block. He may not have much fun with this room, but he's going to clear it out because that could be a potential. Well, no, he's going to leave. But we're still looking for those 2 items, so we want to poke our head at least into every staircase and see what we can get.
It looks like he's just trying to bypass this room for now, and when he does, he finds an open staircase, so we'll see what that hides.
And Toasty's taking that transport staircase in 6.
And we didn't see the other side of this, but we know that it's not where he necessarily wants to be. And so one thing we didn't explain, if you're new to the randomizer, in Dungeon 9, you will have 6 sets of conjoining transport cases, and just 2 staircases that have items. So in total, you're going to have 14 staircases that you have to check and keep track of. It makes it really difficult to keep track of where you've been and where you need to go and how to get there when you need to go there.
And bentglasstube finds yet another Chevy room. So we are finding problems all over the place. Another thing we forgot to mention with 9 is we're listening for... So we're looking and listening for a couple of things while we're in here. We're listening for the sound of Ganon. Ganon's roar can be heard 1 room away from the room that he is in. That'll tell you kind of where he is. We're looking for a shutter door that will stay closed after you've emptied the room of enemies. And that'll tell you where Zelda is. And then finally, we are looking for those hints, or that last hint, or the bow and any item we can get our hands on.
Bentglasstube is going to use his last potion charge in here. He's really committing to getting through this room.
And Toasty doing a good job of getting out of that darknet room. He's still trying to get to the item in 6, which we know is the any key. He's also still looking for the Triforce in there to give him his 5th Triforce. Bentglass is just taking a beating in this turret room, decides to see if he can bomb his way out, and is successful, and we find another staircase. But, right into a Wizrobe.
That is never a fun time there, especially when you see that staircase sitting for free there. You like to have that one back.
And that cost him that drink of the potion, so that could cost him a little bit more here, especially with this room.
And Toastymuffins finds his 5th Triforce, so Toastymuffins can now make that play into 9 if he chooses to.
But we know Toasty really needs to go back into 4 and get those silvers. That's going to be unfortunate if he dives 9 right now.
That is true.
He's going to need to see the hint, silvers lie elsewhere, or get some other... Well, he doesn't even have the book yet. He never found the white sword item, so he won't even be able to read the hints.
I forgot he hadn't found the white sword item either, and that was just by vanilla start, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was 1 above vanilla start.
Bentglass barely escaping those Wizrobe beams, but he can't do it again. That is such a difficult room to progress through if you don't have the ladder. And as our tracker Fury SK points out, we still have so many items that are still at large. This is anybody's race still. Bentglass may have a small advantage as far as knowledge goes, but at this point, either of these runners could decide to make the play that wins him the race.
The question in chat: I don't remember if bentglasstube actually found the magical sword or not. I think Toasty did, but I'm not 100% sure.
You know, I didn't see which one of them found it. I definitely saw it on one of their screens, but I don't remember which one it was at this point.
Now, the one nice thing about having left this room that Bentglass is back in is that when you leave a room after you've killed enemies, it saves how many enemies you've killed. So he's able to come back in here, and there's just 1 Gibdo this time instead of, I believe, like 6 or 8.
That's true. You always take that when you can get it.
He decided not to take that right there and go to the staircase. Instead, goes north and finds a bunch of Zols with more shooters. And, takes another death.
See, just being unforgiving with the rooms it's given these runners right now.
Yeah, definitely. And Toasty's got his any key, so he is going to head out of 6 here. Let's see what he decides to do. Is he going to go into 9? Or is he going to go... Because he hasn't found the power bracelet yet, so he doesn't know where 1 is, doesn't know where 3 is.
That's correct. He's still got several spots to check here. That power bracelet in 7, and him being in 7 once already hurts especially bad, as that's probably not too high on Toasty's priority list to go back to.
Let's just hope 1 or 3... Well, we know 3 is not holding anything, but let's hope that second item in 1 isn't needed.
True.
For his sake.
And we know that at least 1 does have Recorder, so it could open up that some more mobility at the very least while he's making these checks. This bentglasstube wrangles with this Gibdo room.
Toasty looks like he is still trying to find, it looks like 1 or 3. He's unfortunately not going to find them, as we know, but yeah, it's not a bad idea. You know, kind of one's an easy dungeon. You find it, you quickly kind of dive in, see what's there, and get out. But I'd be headed to 9 right now if I was Toasty, even in this position, I think.
True, and bentglasstube finds that that single shutter door does open, so that is not Zelda's room. Any key is invaluable in 9 in many cases, as there are so many key doors in.
And there's our third hint. Patra guards the compass, which, you know, that's annoying.
That is not necessarily the enemy that you want to see in that hint. You usually want keys or gels or Zols. Patra, that's not the one you're jumping out of your seat to try and fight. Especially on no rings and wood sword. bentglasstube, letting the old man know what he thinks of that.
And you might be building up a 10 count there, so you can come in here and get some bombs.
That is true, actually. Oh, and he gets a rupee drop instead. And that's especially rude. The seed giving him that bomb drop. That's unfortunately useless without the ladder.
He's going to make another play for this staircase. Let's see if he can make it this time. He's getting blocked by everything.
Yeah, it looks like me trying to get through the staircase room in 8. But there is the white sword. That's at least good for some offense. Finally, those whiz ropes will be at least a little bit more accessible to get that item out of 2 if he wants to make that play.
Another one of those nice to find, not what we were looking for moments.
Right.
That also does mean that we're that much more likely to have to leave 9 now.
Absolutely. Once you make that play to 9, you're real hesitant to want to dip out again, because 9 is a big commitment, especially digging both items out of 9.
Yeah, if anything else is in here, red ring, blue nanner, definitely opens the door for Toasty.
And speaking of Toasty, he is about to find his silver arrows out of 4. He has gone back and made the decision to go through that leave your money or life room, and he will be handsomely rewarded for it.
We'll have to see what Toasty decides to do after he picks these silvers up. Does he go straight to 9, or do we go on an adventure trying to find anything to help us get through to find the bow?
And this room has been on our screen probably more than any single room that we've seen so far over here on bentglasstube's side. Unfortunately, without that ladder, we're going to keep seeing that until you know how to bypass it.
Yeah, I know that feeling. We had a screen like that in my race, and after a while, you just get sick of seeing that room.
Oh, absolutely. Because you're forced to go through it every single time you come into 9, and 9 is a dungeon that you use the up A function more than any other dungeon in the game, in most cases.
Well, here's a Patra. Well, never mind.
That is just vicious as well. That is just really, really rude of the game.
And Big Glass has had enough of 9. He's either going to go look for a potion, or he's going to go find another dungeon, try to dig the item out of there, and just not deal with that mess.
That's one of the more rude 9s I've seen in a while, just by the pure fact of the just pseudo ladder blocks in there.
Oh, and Toasty's making the play to 2. Look what we got. We're gonna go see what's in that blue wizard room. This could be huge. If it's the bow, this game turns around very quickly.
Absolutely, especially with the fact that Toasty went and found those silvers as well. He finds this bow in here, and he can go to 9 and not even have to look for items.
In chat, we did see the wand. It is the coast item, so we need the ladder to get the wand. And bentglasstube takes another death in that wizard room, and that room is just that's unpleasant.
It is, and the fact that you then have it followed up immediately with a Patra in an NSU room that you have to go through, basically.
2 hearts, so he's got to be careful. He's using those bombs wisely here. He's got a couple of them down. I would open that key door and step out and save these kills. Down to 2.
That looks like
Last
Toasty.
one. What is our item here? Oh, it's the red candle.
He dealt with that room really, really well, but unfortunately, he is
brilliant
not
job
rewarded
fighting
for
that
it.
room. Definitely. I have to say, Toasty's making great calls at this point. Yes, bentglasstube's in 9. He's scouting 9, but just doing what he can, trying to solve this puzzle of where's the ladder, where's the bow, what will get me into Ganon, and what will get me out of the seed first.
And if we were correct earlier, and 5 was ladder blocked, I'm pretty sure that means 9 would have to have the ladder at this point, and
8 still could have the ladder.
That's right.
We also have the second item in 1. We did have that blue wizard room that very easily could be the floor drop. Again,
that's true as well. Yeah, because where I was going with that was it would have to be in 5 or 1, which were both ladder blocked. But I did forget about the room in 8, or the other item in 8, and I did forget about that room in 1. That could possibly be the item. To answer a question in chat of which dungeons still have unchecked items, that would be 1, 5, and 8. We have 1 unchecked item out of 8. They've found the other. Bent gets through that nasty, nasty red wizard room. He's going north out of here. Let's see what he can do with this. It looks like Toasty is going to dig through this 7, and he'll be rewarded with his power bracelet as long as he remembers that he can go south on the east side over there, but he's not going the right direction so far. To answer a question in chat, no, nobody knows where the bow is. That's the number 1 thing our runners are looking for right now. Number 2 would be the ladder. We still don't know where the ladder is either.
Bentglass is going to take on this patch from the NSU room. It could have the compass, but it's not a favorable room to fight this thing in without a ladder. I don't know, he's just going to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't blame him. At this point. Still got a lot of 9 to check for that second item. That's why finding that first item in 9 early can be especially troubling.
And Toasty's gone back into 7. Not a bad play. He needs the power bracelet if he's going to get into 1 or 3. So, you know, I still would go to 9 here at this point. But, you know, if it turns out that 1 does have the ladder or the bow, then definitely in a good position. And we find the second item in 9. It's the heart container. We have bow, not in 9.
And we did find Zelda as well. We found the Zelda room on bentglasstube side. So we found a lot of information there, not necessarily what we wanted, but at least he knows he can get out of 9 and check those other few items in the other dungeons.
So, quick rundown of what we do have. We know the recorder's in 1. We haven't seen the second item. It's either ladder blocked or in the blue wizard room. Red candle's in 2. Raft is in 3, which was blocked by the power bracelet. Silvers were in 4. We haven't seen the item in 5. The any key was in 6. The power bracelet was in 7 that you needed to get to 1. I don't believe we've seen either item in 8. And then white sword and heart container were in 9. And we've got the wand on the coast item. The Armos item was the yellow boomerang, and the white sword was the book.
And thanks to a hint that bentglasstube just got, we know the red ring is ladder blocked, so that's very possibly that other item in 1, or it could be 5 as well.
So with that information, that leads me to think ladder might be an 8.
That's very possible, unless, again, that blue wizard room in 1 actually is the item room. But I think we can be fairly confident that the ladder is not in 5 at this point, because I do believe they dug every direction possible and could not progress. As Toasty, on his side, is making the right play for that power bracelet that he needs out of here.
Well, at least we think it's the right play at this point. We're not sure either.
Right, it could be that 1 is completely unrequired as well. Toasty finds a transfer staircase, and oh no, he's gonna take it. That's gonna lead him away from where he needs to be. Okay, it's actually over closer to where he needs to be. I did not realize that that was a second transport staircase over there, so that actually ends up helping, as he can just go south and grab his power bracelet.
The question in chat, yes, they have both found 8. The only dungeons that have not been found, Toasty has not seen 1 or 3, and that's because you need the power bracelet here in 7 to get to 1, that has the recorder to get to 3 at Recorder Lake.
And Toasty will find his power bracelet, so I would imagine he'll be finding 1 and 3 in short order. He'll probably be digging those out, as bentglasstube is going back into 8 after taking an early death.
And there's another Gleok, and Bentglass decides, there's just a key in there. We've got the any key. Let's find a different way.
Don't blame him for that one bit. And another good clock in a very, very difficult room to traverse.
And there's that early Triforce that Toasty found in 8 that got him out before we really found an item. So yeah, with 2 items at large, 8 seems to be the right play here. Now that we know 9 is off the board. And we've seen what 1 and 5 have.
Bentglass deciding to clear out these enemies at 8, but he does get a map for his trouble. Now, because these are the vanilla first quest dungeons, we do know the shapes of them, but it can be really convenient to have a map up there just to make sure you're bombing the right wall in a dungeon that's as big as this one. And we find a staircase room in 8. Let's see if this 8 was the right play.
And it's the ladder.
That is what we've been looking for. So now we can go back into 5 knowing that we can find the item. We can go back into 1 knowing that we can find the item. And one of those two will probably be the ladder.
We still have another item here in 8, I believe. I don't think we...
Oh, do we?
I don't think... that Triforce was so early, I don't think Toasty picked it up. So... and it's possible that this item was ladder block, too. We did see the Chevy room up at the top.
Oh, wow, we have another free staircase.
Another staircase.
And it's just a transport case.
But with this information, Toasty's in a little bit more trouble now. He's going to really need to get through 1, get through 3, and get over to back to 8, because bentglasstube's going to find the item in here pretty quick, and then either go to 5 or 1 and clear that out. He'll probably go to 1 first.
That's true. Bentglass is definitely on the home stretch here. He knows what he has left to check, and you know, about how long it's going to take him at this point. So,
unless Toasty decides to battle that blue wizard room, and it turns out the ladder block was only in 3, or not in 3 and 5.
That's true. And Toastymuffins finds that 8 blue wizard room that we had been referencing as Bentglass takes an unfortunate death. Toasty decides not to tangle with that blue wizard room quite yet.
As he's going to find his ladder block here in just a second, and he may have some thoughts about that.
Yeah, they won't be happy ones, certainly.
So the 2 different triangles you're seeing, the yellow triangles are the ones that have been obtained, and the ones that just have the gray out are the ones that we have not picked up yet. But both players have the 5 required Triforces, so we're not going to probably pick up any unless we need a health refill at this point.
We're running out of rooms in 8 really quickly here. Not a whole lot left to check, so we're going to be finding this item relatively shortly. As Toasty continues to dig this 1 with these nasty enemies. He's doing a pretty good job of it. Unfortunately, Bentglass takes another death there. These enemy sets have just been so difficult to contend with, especially with what this seed has given them. And I was surprised to see that Bentglass didn't grab the wand with that ladder and the knowledge that it is over on the coast. As Toastymuffin picks up his recorder.
Let's see if he decides to go turn that in at Recorder Lake and move on, and or if he goes to 9, or what we think is the correct play is go to 8.
And here we have our other staircase. What will it be? And it's the red ring.
Oh, that's interesting. So there's our ladder block for the red ring in 8. So that means our bow is either in 1 or 5.
Yep.
Bentglass is going to just take the Triforce, get the health refill, get checked out.
What do we think, chat? Is the bow going to be in 1, or is it going to be in 5? And let's see where Bentglass goes here.
Using the recorder, I think he's going 1.
That's certainly what it looks like, and that's probably what I would do too, especially with the fact that there are only 4 rooms left that could possibly be in here.
Plus, you've got the white sword, 5 bombs, the any key. You go to 1, you quickly clear these 3 rooms, make sure that it's not here, and you go kill that blue wizard room before you head to 5.
Right. And Bent Glass, it looks like he's got a decently big lead here, but it's certainly not over, as we do not know the location of Ganon yet. That until we have that knowledge, this is anyone's game because of how nasty 9 can be with all those transport staircases and the fact that it can just be a bomb wall or a one-off staircase that takes you right to where you need to be.
Oh, okay, here we go. We've got some wall masters. If this doesn't drop the bow, we know that blue wizard room is required. And there it is. So ladder block bow. And with that, we now know where the whole layout of the items are. So Antlers, do you want to give it, or I will be more than happy to give the item recap?
Well, if you've got it up on your screen, I haven't been able to follow on my Z helper, unfortunately.
All right. So we had the recorder and bow in level 1. We've got the red candle in 2, raft in 3, silver arrows were in 4, the blue boomerang is in 5, the any key was in 6, the power bracelet in 7, ladder and red ring were in 8, the white sword and heart container were in 9. We had the wand on the coast, the Armos item was the yellow boomerang, and the white sword item was the book. And Bent Glass is back into this very annoying Wizrobe room, but this time we've got the ladder. We can fight these guys a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's an understatement for sure. This room is so much different with the ladder because you're not held to those vertical and horizontal lines on the planes that those Wizrobes shoot. Just makes it a completely different room to deal with.
And Asylum's going to go, unfortunately, try to clear out this blue Wizrobe room, and if he succeeds, he's not going to be rewarded with anything that he really wants. So this is an unfortunate moment here.
Yeah.
If he's lucky, that death right there will get him out and get him thinking, go to 9, go to 8, go somewhere else until you can get back here.
Right. Now, conversely, if this had been the bow, that might have been the great equalizer that got him right back on eye level with bentglasstube as far as their progress into the seed, but unfortunately he's going to need to be out of this dungeon and back in at this point. And a chat pointing out that we do have that hint for Ganon in the southwest of this dungeon, so he will be trying to get there as soon as he possibly can.
And Bent Glass did spend quite a bit of time, I'd say probably 10-15 minutes or so already in 9 trying to find the items, trying to, figure out stuff. We did find Zelda while we were here.
And we hear Ganon.
Yeah, we hear Ganon, so he is...
And Bent Glass at 138.54. Oh, never mind. It
Nope.
trolled me.
So with the vanilla shapes, there can be dark rooms there are dark rooms in 9, so not every dark room, like with shapes there's no dark rooms, but here's Ganon.
Yeah, 139.20 this time. Bent Glass will find Ganon, and what a room to find him in.
Full health, red tunic, or red ring, white sword, 8 hits will take care of Ganon and a fire of the silver arrows. This should be pretty quick.
That is true. It's a lot different than finding Ganon in this room with wood sword and no ring. That would be a completely different fight.
Or what this flag set likes to do is low percent, 5, 6 hearts, wood sword, no ring. Very difficult fight here, but this will be quick.
Glass, I believe, just needs 1 or 2 more hits to have a dead pig, and he'll be moving on to Zelda. And that is the last hit he needs. He just needs to hit him with that silver, and he will be making a beeline to where he knows Zelda is.
And Toasty's back in 5. Not going to be rewarded with anything. I think we're still ladder blocked here, but if we're not, it's going to be the blue boomerang, and that's not going to help you at this point.
Yeah, just a tough route that that Toasty happened along. Bentglass just was the first one to find that key item that opened up the seed, which was the ladder.
Just a couple more rooms here, and bentglasstube will be getting ready to finish up this seed.
We just gotta make it through a couple more rooms, and we will have our seed. And bentglasstube is your winner with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 18 seconds. Get your GGs out in chat to bentglasstube. And what a great race by these two runners. It's just it was whoever was going to find that one item that opened up the seed first, and it just happened to be bentglasstube this time. But we saw some really good combat and play on display from both of these runners.
We'll see if we can get bentglass in here for an interview. Alright, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get bentglass in here. He's got a trip tomorrow. Still, great game. We're going to see if Toasty will finish here. I'm not sure. I know the other race got moved. I'm not sure what channel it's on right now. I didn't see where that got moved to. Let me see if I can find that real quick for you.
Toasty not showing any signs of stopping, so looks like he is going to finish out the seed, which it won't take him long at this point. He doesn't have that many more things to check, and he'll find his ladder soon. Toasty picks up that big secret there.
Alright, so it sounds like from chat that the J. Coper Mad Bomber match is now on SG3 since this ran a little bit longer. And Toasty's still going. Let's see if we can swap audio over to Toasty here.
Toasty checking Recorder Lake. Unfortunately, this is going to be a red herring for him. He's going to end up spending some time here that we know he doesn't need to, but he is going to be very excited to see that dungeon there.
Alright, apparently Toasty does have the music off, but we'll at least have sound effects here.
Yeah, he knows he cannot tangle with that Goma for now. He'll continue digging out this dungeon. And the good news is he has any key, so that he's not worried about keys. He's not necessarily worried about bombs at this point, since this dungeon is so small. He's literally just looking for the item and going. finds a compass. Unfortunately, I don't really need that right now. That's a nice bomb upgrade to find. At this point in the seed, gives you a lot of security going into 9 with all the bomb walls that are potentially in there to really speed up your end game here. Just making his way through. At this point, since we know that there's nothing that he needs in here, this dungeon is, unfortunately, we're just kind of waiting for him. And there he goes up into the item room. Unfortunately, he's not going to be too happy with what he sees there, but that will give him the information that he does need to go back. Probably to 8. I believe that's the only one that would be on his mind at this point, outside of going into 9.
Right. And while we're waiting for Toasty to make his decision, kind of go over the schedule, at least for the Zelda 1 randomizer tournament. So the last match tonight is going on, or I guess technically the first match. Well, it's now the 8th. So the first match of today, the J. Coper Mad Bomber X, that got moved to Speed Gaming 3. That's going on right now. The Karakhan VI versus Zarnax 42 is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Currently, that is set to be on Randomania. There is no restream set up yet necessarily. Stay tuned for that. At 8 o'clock, we have Zardia versus Can't Find Bombs. That is also set for Randomania 3. No restream set up, at least at this moment. And then at 9 o'clock, we have Slidic versus Dr. J PhD. That is going to be on Speed Gaming 3. And then starting an hour and 10 minutes after that match starts on Speed Gaming 2, we have Saver versus Sis Crusher. That's going to be a match. As Toasty picks up the Triforce here in 3.
I'm really looking forward to that Crystal Saver versus Sis Crusher. See, that is going to be one heck of a race between
and then right. No, definitely. And then closing out the night, we've got 2 more midnight races, Bobbing for Fries and Willow Sticks on Speed Gaming 3, and Fury SK, who was our tracker tonight, who had to go do the J. Coper match, and Truant Gamer will be going on Speed Gaming.
It looks like Toasty has dipped out of 3 after finding the item in the Triforce, and now he'll be going back to another one of the dungeons after he buys a potion. I do want to go ahead and mention to give both of these runners a follow. bentglasstube and Toastymuffins, they did really well tonight, and they're working really hard in this tournament, and they'll put on some more exciting races to come.
Oh, definitely. Toasty, with this being his first race in the first tournament here, good showing. Unfortunately, the ladder and the kind of layout of the map didn't help things. So I expect good things from Toasty, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch them grow through the next 4 rounds of the Swiss tournament here. Again, we are playing a 5-round Swiss tournament, so you'll get to see all of these runners at least 4 more times. And then if they make it to the brackets, then we'll continue there with a slightly different flag set.
Absolutely. And another thing I want to mention is a big thank you to our tracker tonight, Fury SK. He's pulling double duty as he had to just go and commentate that J. Coper versus Mad Bomber match. But we want to thank him for doing that and doing the tracker so that we could get this off with knowing where our items are and where our Triforces are.
And also, give my partner here, Antlers, a follow. He's a great runner. He had a great match today earlier. It was a lot of fun to watch. Looking forward to see what you do in the tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It was definitely an exciting one, and good luck to yourself as well. I don't believe I've seen you play yet, but I'll be looking forward to watching your match when it happens.
I drew Random Effect and I played on Monday, and it was kind of
Oh,
like this match for Toasty. It was my first match, and it went about the same. I was in it for a while, and then the experience shows, and Toasty's going to get there. He's outstanding job, handling all the adversity, all the combat in the sea. Just
oh, it was a disgusting seed combat-wise, and anyone would tell you that with all the ridiculousness that this seed threw at both of these runners. You'll see them both put up, much quicker times in different seeds, and for what the seed has given them, these times are certainly very respectable. And
definitely.
Toasty, and the good news too is there are a lot of new faces in this tournament, so it's not just like if you're new that you don't have a chance to get any wins or do anything in this tournament. It's very diverse in the skill level and the experience level, and just it's there's a potential for exciting matches every single time you see one up, so it's always worth a watch.
Oh, definitely. This first round was loaded, and it's just going to keep getting better. We've got some great matches coming up. Just looking at some of them, we've got Redbird Grad versus Raikou Rider. We've got Adirondack Rick versus Taco. You keep going on. There's a list of great matchups here that are going to be lots of excitement.
Absolutely. Our tracker tonight, Fury SK versus Truant Gamer, is going to be a really good one as well.
And Toasty is back in 8. This is the right place to be. Let's see if he can get the ladder out of here. Really help to get the red ring out of here as well, and then go back to 1, and we'll be on the home stretch here.
Absolutely, he's on the right path now. It's just a matter of finding what the items he needs.
And you're seeing these runners play, and you're thinking, I love Zelda. I want to do this. There are races all the time in SRL. We've got a great community. Join the Discord. Come follow the runners. Come play along. There's races going on, especially with the tournament now. Every night, someone's looking for a race to get practice in, to get better, just to play a different set of flags. They've got something called the Battle Royales, where it's a 10-person tournament. Each week, the last place finisher is eliminated, and every race is a different wild set of flags. We've got all sorts of good stuff. Boomstick fun, if you like to play with the boomstick. If you like shapes, you've got shapes tournaments. You've got all sorts of fun stuff to play. So come join us.
Absolutely. And the great thing is, too, if you're like me, or like I was 4 months ago, and you have no idea what SRL is when we say it, or what IRC is when you hear some people say it, if you join the Discord, there are hundreds of people that are more than happy to help new people in the community. It's something that the community loves to do, is help new people get going. So it's not don't be intimidated. It's really easy and hassle free to get started. Toasty doing a good job in that room. Moving on here. He's seen the bulk of the middle of this 8. He's just got to make it to the extremities here.
He finds his red ring ladder block. Obviously, he hadn't found the book still, so not going to get any hints or help with that. So he's going to have to keep digging.
Yeah, unfortunately, we know that his play is to the top from the west of the dungeon. So he's got to get back to start, or he'll eventually have to get back to start, and he'll have to go west and then go along that northern path to get his ladder.
And he's going to want to just up A out of this room. There's no reason to fight those dark nuts. That's just not going to end well.
No, that's a good play. Even if you do kill him, you sink so much time into it when where you need to be is back towards start anyway.
Gonna need to bomb this wall here if I remember correctly to... There's the bomb wall.
Here's the transfer staircase. Hopefully he doesn't take this and he ends up going one screen north, as that's where his wand will be. Or his ladder. I'm sitting here thinking of the ladder blocked wand on the
He
coast
needs
still.
to get that potion out. These splitting fires, plus at least one. That's not a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, who haven't played the game much, they don't realize how annoying that the powered up smaller enemies can be, like Keese and Tektites, as Toastymuffins finds his ladder. Some of those smaller enemies that are less predictable, even though they do less damage, can be a lot more annoying when they roll higher because they're a lot harder to hit in many cases.
Now, what's his play? Does he go back in? Does he finish off 8, go up to that ladder block, or do you go 5? Are you gonna go 1? Where are you gonna go?
It would make things a lot easier for
At least
him if
1.
he
That's
went up
not
and got this red ring. It looks like Toasty is going to stay in here and dig this red ring out.
That will definitely help with 9.
And he'll find it relatively easily. Oh, and he's going to take a little bit of a diversion here up to the north. Actually, the red ring, if I remember correctly, was west of where we are now.
And he'll find it here pretty quickly. Running out of ways to get there.
Right, you are. Unfortunately, it is bomb blocked from this side. He decides not to tangle with that room for now. He's going to check a few more open rooms, and this will be the path that he needs to take. So Toasty has found his red ring. He will be going back to either 5 or 1 to dig out that other item that he needs.
And he still could go to 9.
That is true.
Because he hasn't dug out the white sword or the heart container there.
At this point, with the number of rooms remaining in 1, especially with how close you are to 1,
Yeah, just go take 1.
That's definitely the play. Now he has red ring too, so he doesn't have to be as worried.
Oh, he's skipping 1.
bypassing
He's going to go to
line
5.
5. Unfortunately, we know that will not produce the results he wants.
No, it will not. Well, where's he? Oh, he's going to the any roads to go up to 9. Oh, nope. I have it marked wrong. He went into 5.
Which not the worst play in the world. Definitely, it's we're only disappointed because we know that the item is not in here, but
definitely.
he has no idea.
I mean, in theory, knowing how many rooms in 1, I would say that you would dive 1 here. I agree. This seems like not the worst choice, but definitely most runners would pick 1 just for the sheer. I know I've got 3 rooms left. I cleared that wizard room. Let me get my item out of here.
That is true, and the fact that you walk right by it to get to 5 as well.
I mean, a miss mark on your tracker, or you just forget about it, and it happens.
True.
I mean,
oh, absolutely.
This is assuming he is tracking. That's I know some of our runners like to You track in different ways: pen and paper, Z helper, all sorts of different tools. And there's our bait block in 5.
Just wondering where that was.
Not a very useful bait block, but you know, you just kind of walk around it.
Yeah, those are always the best bait blocks. You never want to see a bait block that actually ends up meaning something, unless you've previously bought meat, and then you're pretty happy to see it.
No, Toasty did pick up the book at some point. I must have missed that.
He did. He did go back in and or back by there where the book was and pick it up. Unfortunately, not finding what we want yet out of here. We do see that the Triforce is down in the southeast of the dungeon. He may end up taking that transfer staircase here. I believe that's probably what he's doing. And with the shape of 5, what he'll need to do is he'll either need to take that adjoining staircase to get to another part of the dungeon, or he will need to bomb south in the far east room that he was in right here. This could possibly be a bomb wall, as he's about to do, or he would have had to take the staircase if not.
It's a bomb wall into a room that you really don't want to be in.
Not necessarily. Luckily, he did find that red ring right before coming in here, so he was able to take that hit with not much significance there.
At this point, nice thing is you've got the any key, you've got the red ring, you've got all these hearts. The only thing you really want is magical sword, white sword, but you're kind of just rolling through here, just not worried about much of anything.
Yeah, at this point, you're kind of on autopilot, and unfortunately, that is he found the wrong destination there. But he now knows without a doubt that he either has to be in 9 or 1, and hopefully, he dips back into 1 before deciding to go into 9.
Yeah, I would think that. Oh, he's got the recorder out. I think he's going to 2 to go to 9. I went to 8.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Oh, he's going to get mags. Oh, no, it's not enough.
So the magical sword did roll toward the upper end of its heart requirement. 11 hearts is not enough to pick up magical sword. It can be anywhere from 10 to 14, and that is completely random.
And now it looks like we might be taking the staircase up to the coast. I think you wanted to go up to 2. I want to go up to Death Mountain and go into 9 is what I'm thinking.
And another exciting thing about this particular flag set is the fact that whenever you do these, you rarely see magical sword picked up, and when you do see it picked up, it's usually a big deal because that means it's rolled low, just because of the nature of finding 5 Triforces as opposed
We're gonna get the wand here. That's not a bad play, especially you don't know where the white sword is. You're gonna probably right now you've got 2 items in 9, 1 item in 1. You're gonna go to 9. Patra's always in 9 right now. 1 just makes combat so much easier, even with the book.
Right, especially when you can swing your sword at the same time as using 1. So hopefully this 9 is nice to our runner Toasty here, and he can find those items early and get out.
No, definitely. And the only problem is the wand's not very useful for Wizzrobes, and we found plenty of them. But we've got the ladder this time, so this should not be nearly as bad as Bentglass's first dive into 9.
That is true, and he will find the white sword eventually in 9 as well.
And if he finds the second item, he might take another shot at Mags. Because he'll have that extra heart container. That put him to 12.
That's a good point. So Toastymuffins making his play into 9.
He gets that wonderful hint, or you know where Ganon roughly is. You got the quadrant. You're going, okay, this can't be horrible. And then it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, he that's a good hint to get right off the bat, but he's gonna have to leave and come back. If only it was Bo that he had found instead of Silvers, there'd be a possibility of finding that
magical hint. Yeah.
Silvers.
Yeah, not having Bo just makes those Bo's voice just annoying to fight. Even if they roll low, wand, wood sword, they're still just a pain to kill.
That's true. Until you have arrows, they're very time consuming. And with his newfound wand, Asylum is making relatively short work of these Gibdos here.
They are mummies. I mean, just light the bandages on fire and let them burn.
Yeah, I find it weird that the Gibdos don't have a weakness to fire. You would think that they would. I mean, the fire hurts them, but you'd think it'd do a little extra damage.
All right, there's the second hint. So the only thing left in here is the money or bomb room, if I remember, or key or bomb room, I think it was.
I don't think we've seen the hint for Zelda yet.
There wasn't one. It was eaten by the give any room. So there's just three. There's 3 old men, not so much hints. So that third old man that takes away the heart and bomb or whatever, 2 items, eats your hint. So he won't get it. The only hint he's got is that. So there will be no hint for the silvers or the girl. You'll just know where the compass is and where the beast is. And we're back into this wonderful room. This time, Toasty didn't get to experience the full fun that this room was, but it's still not a lot of fun to deal with.
Still not the best, but a lot better than if you don't have a ladder, that's for sure.
And those bombs aren't taunting you for the next 10 minutes.
That's also true. That's the worst, when they're so close, but they're so far away.
If I remember correctly, this is the room where he needs to bomb to the right and take care of those that Wizzrobe mess that's in there. I think that's where the item was, if I remember.
Using this lag to his advantage here, with all the projectiles on the screen, the game can't keep up as well and it lags. So that makes it a little bit easier to maneuver sometimes around some of these busy rooms. Now, you'll see some of our runners using what they call pause strats. Most notably, that's a favorite of Crystal Saver, and it is where you disable the menuing option with your select button, and instead you make that pause the game. Runners will use that to effectively slow the game down so that they can get through really difficult rooms without taking a hit.
If you haven't had a chance to see that, that is when you watch someone like Saver who uses those pause strats almost to perfection. They'll go into a room 3 hearts with shooters and 8 darkness, and they'll walk out of that room with maybe half a heart taken off of them. It's stunning to watch.
And they make it look about a million times easier than it actually is. Pause strats are not an easy thing to do, especially quickly enough that it saves you time.
It's nice to see Toasty sticking around, finishing this off. You always want to kind of finish the race out. Even when you don't get the outcome you want, you can learn quite a bit about the seed, where you made your mistakes, and just that little step of improvement can change your game in the very next round.
Absolutely. When you finish the seed to its end, it really kind of helps clarify what you could have changed a little bit, where you could improve, just what decisions you could have made that would have changed the outcome. It can be really helpful for future races, especially in this flag set that's so unique.
Oh, definitely. And the biggest is learning when to gamble. And kind of and kind of, if you can, know your opponent a little bit, know what their tendencies are. If you can watch a couple of their races, that can give you some insight on what to do too.
Absolutely. There are certain runners that will prefer to dive into bigger dungeons early in the seed. There are some who won't even touch them until they absolutely have to. So it's just kind of a difference in philosophy. And a lot of times you got to kind of adapt to what the seed's kind of telling you. Toastymuffins dealing once again with a nasty room. Once again, wants no part of that Pole's voice room there, and will turn in the opposite direction.
Even with the wand wood sword, I don't blame him. That Pole's voice room, that's a lot of Pole's voice. Even fully geared out, that's just an annoying room to clear.
Yeah, it's just really time consuming. And he has found that east bomb wall, so this, I believe, will be his white sword.
And there it is. That'll help a lot with the rest of this. Definitely not the item he was looking for right now, though. Unfortunately, he's not going to find it near.
Yeah, that's check one more off the list there. The item he's looking for, unfortunately, will be the last one he finds this seed in all likelihood, unless he decides to leave right now.
Yeah, I don't think the heart container was very far from the white sword.
It didn't take all that long after we found the white sword to find the heart container.
But it also made combat a ton easier too, so
that's
a good part of it. Yeah, seeds like this where your fighting items, your good combat items are locked away behind really bad situations. Your white sword's in 9. You can't get that until you've done 5 dungeons. Your wand is locked away on the coast, and you can't find the ladder. That's just, it's in a bad combat seed like this. That's just unfortunate to have those items locked like that.
And it's a lot of times it can kind of be discouraging when that kind of thing happens, but you just got to remember each seed is a new set of items with a new possible route, and it could be just the opposite next time. You could take the exact right route and find what you need right off the bat.
Yeah, this seed definitely wanted you to work for its finish, because you had to go dig 7, which no one wants to do to get that power bracelet, to get 1 to get your bow. That's, assuming you also dug 8 and got your ladder out of there.
Absolutely right. We had a ladder block and a power bracelet block on the bow. So two different items blocking one of the items required to beat the game. Nice bomb drop there. Gonna keep Toasty at max hearts, or max bombs. Very important while you're trying to dig out this huge level 9.
He's doing a good job fighting these wizards, staying on the half tile to avoid their beams and just take them out.
Efficient combat as well, doing his swipe and then changing direction to face the other wizrobe so that the beam shoots that wizrobe. Very efficient combat there.
And hi, Patra. White sword and wand. If he knows the kind of the glitch to use both at the same time and just wreck this Patra real quick, it'll be a lot easier than probably trying to clip at this point.
Yeah, that's a trick that when you hit the B and A inputs at the same time, on the exact same frame, it will actually allow you to use both the wand and the sword at the same time, and it will deal both of their damage to enemies that are affected by those items. So on a Patra, instead of 2 hearts of damage for the sword, it would be 4 for the sword and the wand. It is a little bit difficult at first to get the timing down, but once you've got the timing, it can really save you some time in combat, especially on Patras that takes so many hits to kill.
Yeah, I know with the book it's a little bit more difficult to pull off.
That is also true. And Toasty has found Ganon. Unfortunately, he does not have the bow to be able to kill him yet, so he'll have to leave the room.
Ask Ganon for a rain check here.
Just working out where he's going to go next. I was going to say, he hasn't seen the staircase yet.
You're definitely getting a very scenic tour of 9. Not the scene you want to be watching, but at least not for a very long time. You want 9 to be sweet and quick.
Yeah, that's the danger of 9. So many staircases in this dungeon to check when you're looking, especially for just one more item. It can feel like it just takes forever when you're trying to do it. And he has found... Actually, that's not Zelda's room. There must have been a wall master in there. Zelda, I believe, was further south. Finish clearing out this wizard room, and I'll admit, I did not actually see which exact staircase the heart container was.
It was this one.
Right, I was thinking of maybe that one, but that's good. He will be able to dip out and go back to 1, grab that item, and come back and finish it off. He knows everything he needs to know. He just got to finish it.
I was gonna keep looking for frustration slashes. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I don't think he knows that he left that item in one, actually. I think that he is probably not aware.
I'm wondering if mismarked on the tracker, thought he picked something up, or no, here we go. We're getting on the toot.
That's dungeon 8, so looks like he'll make the walk over to 1. He looks like he's going in the right direction anyway.
At this point, fatigue starts to set in. You've been going at this for 2.5 hours almost. The combat's been brutal. Forgetting an item, forgetting that you had a room. That's completely understandable.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of resolve to, after your opponent's finished, to go ahead and finish this one out. After how much it's been thrown at you, how mean it's been to you. Definitely big props to Toasty for sticking at it and getting the finish.
He's going to get his reward of a bow here in just a minute. So he gets past this ladder block in Goma, and I believe if he goes right, he gets it.
Yes, it was right side bow over here.
This one didn't have the Goma; it was somewhere else. Oh, get his heart. He might make him. At this point, I would go try to pick up the magical sword. There's no reason not
Just
to.
because, yeah.
I mean, you're pretty much there. I mean, I think you've got what, 1 heart left before you've guaranteed it.
Right, you'd have to be pretty unlucky to not be able to pick up bow or the magical sword with as many hearts as he has.
Does have to be careful here not to get a clock. There we go.
He sees his bow, and he will be right back into 9.
We know where Ganon is. I don't think he saw Zelda, but we know where Ganon is. We'll make quick work of that.
I think he thought he saw Zelda because he left that room without that shutter door opening. I believe that was a wallmaster that was hiding there that he didn't realize.
Yeah, we're going to 8 to make a play on the magical swords, it looks like. And try to screen scroll, decides, okay, this is not working, so we'll just go around. It's fine.
Yeah, and when after a seed like this, when you're this deep into the seed, it just makes everything, all the technical stuff, that much more difficult after you've been at it this long, and you're just, a lot of times you're just ready to be done.
Oh no!
Oh, how rude! How rude! Giving the old man a piece of his mind after that one.
And a piece of his bomb count.
Very true.
And we can't blame him at this point. Smart move, pick up a post on the way. This has not necessarily been the worst 9 you've ever seen, but you're going to have 3 hearts going in. Potion definitely makes life a lot easier.
Right. Honestly, before we had the ladder, it was one of the worst 9s I've seen in a while. But with ladder and red ring, especially with that potion, he should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, it could always be worse, but this one was pretty annoyingly bad.
Right, and the fact that it just dangles that bomb drop right in front of your face every single time you walk through there does not make it any better.
So hopefully Toasty's done some mapping of 9 and track down where Ganon was and quickly get back there. Make some quick bacon and go find the girl.
And it is a fairly straightforward route to Ganon. He shouldn't have too much trouble getting back there.
We just have to kill these wizards at least one more time.
Everyone, wave goodbye to the wizards. I'm pretty sure this may be the last time we see them. If not, it'll be an up A to try and find the girl.
I'm going to do a quick bomb to see if there's a faster way. And unfortunately, there is not.
Using these silver arrows that he is now able to fire to get through these rooms a lot more easily.
There's a good clock. That'll help get out of this room a little bit easier.
Yeah, those good clocks kind of went away there for a while.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes you get them when you need them, and sometimes you just get them, and you're like, well, thanks. I already cleared this room. But,
right. Oh, cool. I have one more gel to kill. Thanks for the clock.
And good news is with Patras, once you kill the Patra, it doesn't come back. So sometimes investing in, and now we're gonna get some bunny slaughter. Oh, no, we're just gonna take the staircase.
Yeah, that makes those Pole's voice so much quicker and easier to deal with, and he takes the staircase right to Ganon's door. We're gonna see some bacon on the grill here in a second.
You know, saying as Patras, once you kill them, they're dead. So you don't have to worry about that very much once you get rid of one. And here's Ganon.
Well, let's watch Toasty make some bacon here.
Again, white sword. So we're going to take 8 hits, 16. Well, yeah, I don't think Ganon's health is shuffled here. So 8 hits with the white sword, 16 with the wood, and 4 with magical swords.
And just misses the stun lock there. Just a little bit late on that slash, but finds it again. And
he broke out of the stun
almost
lock.
had the stun lock.
I believe he's got one more hit left.
He obviously has worked on this fight quite a bit for this being his first race. He definitely knows the general idea of this fight very well.
Again, it's just being a little trolly here. Doesn't want us to play still. Doesn't want this night to end yet. Or at this point, this early morning, as we're finishing up another great match in the Zelda 1 Randomizer tournament.
Absolutely. They've all been really good matches so far, and all just so fun to watch.
And there we go. We've got Pig.
We'll pick up his completed Triforce, and he'll be looking for Zelda.
And here's another Patra. Reward, Patra.
Very possible, though, that this could have the compass, as we know from a secret.
Yeah, we gotta be careful, though. We got 2 hearts. Even with the red ring, Patra's still a nuisance.
They will still give you a half-hearted damage, which that's 4 bonks, but those bonks with Patras can sneak up on you real quick.
They add up fast.
I don't believe we've seen this staircase yet, so we'll see where this goes. Maybe we have.
Another Patra.
Lovely.
I believe we've seen that Patra before, but still not. Never fun to see another Patra.
And we have likely the last money boss we'll see of the game.
Well, we got some options here. Go north. There's another Patra.
Hopefully he dispatches of this. This might be the compass drop.
He needs to pull out that potion or he's going to get tagged.
Looks like he's playing it safe. Oh, nice.
Oh,
Very
there you
nice
go.
job on the Patra there. And he does find the compass, so now he knows where he needs to go. And actually, I just missed the location of Zelda the first time through, apparently. He was right by Zelda earlier, so he has been adjacent to that room. not too long now before Toasty will make his way up to the princess's cell in Ganon's dungeon.
No, there's that. There's that trolley room, which if you've got the any key, that's really not that bad.
Yeah, unfortunately it leads absolutely nowhere, so he's looking for a bomb wall now, which he will find.
If I remember correctly, you had to bomb to the left here. Nope. I didn't remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure that Bent Glass approached this Zelda room from the left, and it's looking like that's probably the case. No, not gonna be able to bomb into Zelda's room, unfortunately. And he pulls up his map, so he should see that he can approach from the other side. I guess he didn't notice the first time through that the first time he was in there, that shutter door did not open.
Yeah, sometimes you're just in such a hurry, especially because you're in here looking for the items. You know, you forget that little piece of information. It's like, oh yes, I do actually still need to find Zelda while I'm in here. Just that little piece helps. And hi, Wizrobes, we get to see you again.
One last time. I'm pretty confident that this is actually going to be the last time. He's just going to make a straight shot north here, and he'll go west after this, and he'll find it pretty easily. Pulling out those silver arrows. And what do you got to lose? Might as well. Bombs or silvers make it easier. Might as well use them. He's going to try and bomb into Zelda's room here. Unfortunately, he's not going to get results from that, so he will see it pretty quick. One more room for Toasty. He will be getting into that Zelda room. And at 2 hours, 32 minutes, and 37 seconds, official SRL time, Toastymuffins has finished the seed. Get your GGs out in chat for Toastymuffins.
GG, good job of finishing that, Toasty. And I hope you come back and watch
Absolutely.
this. Hopefully we'll get Toasty in here and we can talk to him a little bit and see his thoughts on that. And we have Toasty in the chat. Hey, Toasty, you wanna? Let's see if we can get you in the voice booth here.
SRL time, Toastymuffins has finished the seed. Get your GGs out in chat for Toastymuffins.
GG, good job of finishing that, Toasty. And I hope you come back and watch
Absolutely.
this. Hopefully we'll get Toasty in here and we can talk to him a little bit and see his thoughts on that. And we have Toasty in the chat. Hey, Toasty, you wanna?
Apologize, we're just trying to get Toasty in here for an interview. Looks like we're gonna get him in here. It'll just be one more second. Here he
Testing.
is.
Hey, Toasty, GG, good job finishing that
GG.
out. That was something. Tell us what your thoughts are on that seed.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so this testing.
Hey, Toasty, GG, good job finishing that out.
That was tough. Yeah, that was really hard. I've kind of my first finished one of these tournament logic seeds so far. So I did some practice ones. I got pretty close, but I don't know. That was tough. I think everything was sort of gated by that ladder in level 8, and I just missed that bomb wall. That really set me back because I was like, I was doing great, and I couldn't find a single item anywhere. So I was like, shit.
Yeah, that was a really rough seed. It threw a lot of stuff at you. A lot of just really rude combat and blocks. The bow, which is obviously required to beat the game, was blocked behind both ladder and the power bracelet.
Yeah,
There was also the red herring of the recorder blocked 3 that was completely unrequired as well. So lots of trolley stuff in this seed. But you handled it really well, and no matter what it threw at you, you pressed on, you finished the seed, so that's great.
Well, thanks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You were even with Bent Glass up until about the hour point when he went into 7 and found the power bracelet, and then your paths kind of diverged for a while. Y'all came back together in 1. He had the ladder, you didn't,
Yeah, ouch.
and we had the run and go. We knew there were 4 rooms left. What was going through your mind when you took on that blue wizard broom, hoping beyond hope that was your floor drop?
Oh man, I was I was getting desperate. I guess towards about an hour and a half, I was like, okay, I really need to start getting some items here. So I was just hoping, man. I was praying there was something there, and that it would be what I need, a ladder or bow or something. Yeah. But yeah, that was tough. I mean, I tried to kill like all the other rooms and leave that one for last, and I was like, all right, might as well just go for it, just and then it's like, of course it's not there, and then then the 9, I was kind of trolled again by the 9, the heart being in 9. I was certain that was the bow, and I forgot about the other 2 rooms in 1 that was ladder blocked. I was like, oh god, of course.
that was my next question, because we saw you go, you recorded to 1, and instead of going into 1 to get that last room, you went to 5 and found the blue boomerang. So I was wanting to know kind of what your thought process was, if you'd if you were tracking, if you'd mistracked, or what happened and what went through your mind there.
Yeah, I forgot that there were 2 other rooms I hadn't got the item in 1, basically. Yeah. I sort of, that was kind of a mistracking thing. Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, it's either in 5 or 9. So yeah, that's why I went there, and obviously it wasn't worth it. Yeah, and I just if I had just gotten that ladder out of 8, I went through 8, and I was like, oh, this is totally ladder blocked everywhere, and I just missed that bomb wall. So yeah, that sent me on a wild goose chase everywhere, and then
definitely, yeah. You had a lot of combat in there, and then kind of my last question on this is, you had 5 Triforces, and instead of going straight to 9 and trying to figure out what was in there, you kind of poked around in the other dungeons and just looked around, see what you could find. You eventually found your way up, but what was your decision making in not going to 9 once you had the 5 Triforces and at least scoping the 2 items out of there and kind of understanding what 9 looked like?
Actually, yeah, that's a great question. I think my thought process was like, I just want to make sure I scour the easier dungeons, quote unquote. Actually, 9 wasn't too bad, all things considered. It was, and I think that just kind of comes up to my learning how to do it. I think, yeah, the time spent in 9 isn't really a waste because you have to go back there. So even if you get 2 items that are busts, like kind of the routing through it. So that's something I think. Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened to Bent Glasstube. He came in 9 without the ladder, without the bow, and that Wizrobe room at the start, he fought probably 15 times.
Oh, geez.
With no ladder, so it was unpleasant. His 9 was his first foray into 9 was much more unpleasant than yours.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
but he dove 9 as soon as he hit his 5th Triforce. And he found the white sword and heart container, which made going going into 8 and going into 8 and getting the ladder and the red ring out, just so much easier.
Yeah, and I also got trolled. I think I got trolled by the magical sword guy was being stingy. I think.
Yeah, he was a little stingy. That looked like a max hearts there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my understanding is this was your first tournament race, or was this your first actual like SRL race here?
This is my first Zelda 1 randomizer tournament. The first tournament seed even finished. So now
Go ahead.
I started running Super Metroid earlier this year. And so I've been playing Zelda 1 since I was a wee lad. It was one of the first games I ever picked up when I was like 3 years old. So
it definitely shows that
yeah.
you've got a lot of experience with the game, even if you may not have the experience with the randomizer, and that'll come with time.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of great combat out of you and bentglasstube. A lot of knowledge about how the game works. So good job, and definitely good luck in the next round. You're not going to be an easy out. I'm in the 0-1 bracket as you are, and I don't really want to face you.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I think I felt very good up until I just was struggling to find a single item out of 5 dungeons, and then I started feeling the pressure, and then I did bentglasstube get the ladder, and the 8 was pretty. It was ladder and red ring.
Yeah, ladder
did you
and
get
red
those
ring.
pretty quick?
He did not actually. He got those later in toward the end of his seed. So he that was one of the last things he found before he went back to 1. He went back to 1 without going to 5. That's what saved him a lot of the time.
Okay.
Over you is the fact that he never went back to 5.
Gosh, yeah, I can't wait to watch this back and see what we were doing. But
yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to call and to watch. Put on a great show for us.
Yeah, and thank you guys for sticking the whole 2.5 hours there. I appreciate it. Wasn't sure.
Oh, absolutely. But you keep at it, and there are races going on every night, and jump in those. And like I was saying earlier, I've been doing this for about 4 months, and everyone was really helpful when I started. So it's a really good community full of really good people who are more than willing to help with any questions that you have and help you get going.
I think on that. Any other questions for us, Toasty, on how the siege went, or antlers for Toasty?
I think that's everything that I have. Toasty, you have anything else?
I am good. Thank you guys again, and thanks everyone for watching.
Absolutely. All right. And, on behalf of my partner Antlers tonight, Toasty and bentglasstube, and all of the hard workers behind the scenes here at Speed Gaming and Random Mania, give the runners a follow. They put on a great show. Follow my co-commentator here at Antlers. Give the Speed Gaming channels and Random Mania a follow so you can follow all of the great Zelda 1 tournament or randomizer tournaments, along with all the other action going on. We've got Dragon Warrior randomizer tournaments, no up and vanilla tournaments. They've got the Mega Man X 34 Mavericks tournament, all sorts of content that you can find on Speed Gaming and Random Mania, our great partners here. And on that, my name's Noristra, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your morning, and keep hailing.
It was a pleasure calling the race with you, Noristra, and give Noristra a follow as well. He did a great job tonight.